Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it's morning somewhere. For April 25th, 2025. My name is Bernie Burns. I'm back. How dare you have a podcast without me?
I liked my intro. Oh, what? I'm sorry. Was the pause before the 5 too on the nose?
A little bit too on the nose. Listen, you can nudge your timing on that. It's Ashley, everybody. Say hi to Ashley.
Look, it's good to have you back.
Oh God, it's so good to be back after so long away. I was doing the count on this. We're gonna hit 400 episodes on your birthday.
Oh, that's exciting.
In early May. And that's going to be a Saturday, though. So we'll celebrate probably on the Friday. Celebrate 400. But the real thing is that I'm going to hit 500 like a couple months after that. And that will mean I've been on this podcast for more episodes than any other podcast I have ever been on.
That's a milestone to shoot for.
Also, how horrifying to have more than 1,000 appearances on any podcast anywhere.
The next day, you'll be like, all right, I'm done.
Blah, 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 blah.
Talk about crazy things that are happening.
Did you get a Switch?
Yes, but I pre-ordered in the UK because that's where we're going to be in June when the Switch comes out. So I heard that the pre-orders in the US, which opened yesterday, were kind of, as one might expect, a bit of a shit show here and there. And you know, it was difficult trying to get them pre-ordered online. A lot of people ended up having to basically go into their nearest GameStop and try to pre-order in person. I know, right? The horror. Wait in the lines. I remember the midnight launch lines. Those were a good time, actually. But pre-order lines, maybe less.
Or do we just have nothing else to do in our lives? Like we do often look back with those rose-tinted glasses at everything we did as if it's cooler. Not everything we did was cooler.
I like the energy of those, because you're there at midnight for the whole new era, and you're going to play all the new games, and all the people in line they're your people, right? It feels like these are my people, and we're here to have a good time.
Not so fast.
So it's like it. I liked the energy of it. That said, it is very convenient if you can just go online and order. So that's what I did. I went online, pre-ordered. I had none of the difficulties that people were having pre-ordering in the US. I just went on Game. It was when I thought about it that day, I was like, oh, right, pre-orders opened, and went on the website, ordered one, and they said, you're good.
Oh, really?
And that was all I had to deal with. Here, there were people trying multiple places. They were in lines, and then find out that their line wasn't even like a real line for real stuff. And, then they can't get in another line because now they're sold out at this other place. So a bit of a mess. That said, Nintendo is still going to be doing, I guess, their lottery, the one where you have to have like so many hours with playing on the Switch to be like
so dumb. Gatekeeping.
It's not dumb. You call it gatekeeping. I appreciate it as an anti-scalping measure.
So if I have like 10,000 hours, can I buy 15? And am I allowed to be a scalper if I'm a cool gamer? Supportive?
If you're a real gamer, you get it on like Nintendogs.
My advice to those people is good luck.
Just at the moment, Bernie, I'm having a real problem. And that is, so Oblivion came out a couple days ago. And I'm playing it. It's good. It's got that moment, that magic that old Oblivion had, where the first bit of the game, you're going through these sort of like dank sewers, and it's a little bit gross and a little dark and closed in as you're sort of learning the basics of gameplay. And then there's a part where you open this door and exit out of the sewers, and there's this lake and this island, and on this island, of course, is the next cave that you're going to go into probably. But it's just this beautiful scenery, and you go, oh wow. And it had the oh wow magic again.
Good.
So I'm super excited about that. That's really great.
That's great.
That is great. Loving it. Problem, another game just came out, and this is another one that I suspect is going to end up on those early Game of the Year contender lists, along with Blueprints. And that's a game called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Have you ever heard of this game?
I think I would remember if I heard that name before. No, I've never heard of that before.
I feel like the worst thing about the game is the name. It's one of those. It's really difficult.
That's a bold statement considering all that you know is the name. It's like
that's not
so
true.
far it's 100% bad stuff.
No, that's not true. It's reviewing absolutely incredibly, and it's now dropped. So it's on, if you're on Xbox, which is where I'm currently playing it, it's on Game Pass as well, so it's really easy to check out. It's one of those games that I might end up picking up on PC just because it's made by, as I understand it, a really small team, like 30 people or something, if that's the game I'm thinking of. That was, people were talking about the 30-man team. It looks absolutely incredible. And it's got kind of BioShocky vibes.
I saw you playing it. It looked
BioShock
very
Infinite
BioShock.
vibes, but it's the idea of this game is you basically play, I don't know,
a Victorian lady with a vengeance.
no, it's so close. But no, you play like Victorian Robert Pattinson. That's the only thing I can think of when I see this character is like, oh, it's Robert Pattinson, but Victorian.
You were playing a lady when I saw it.
Yes, there were these two characters and you could switch between them. This is the prologue, the opening. But part of the thing that I think you'd really appreciate about this world is you like it when someone takes a thing and says, what if?
I like when people change one thing.
And then they play with the what if. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply to the whole world. This is not a real world, so they're already changing a lot of things. But the idea is, what if? There is this godlike character called the Paintress. And once a year, she awakens and she writes a number basically on this it's glowing in the sky. And that number gets smaller every year. And anyone who's that number or older dies, like immediately.
It's a good snap, by the way.
Thank you. Hold on. Yep. Oh, good one.
She's licking her fingers now. She's prepping. She's ready. Nice.
Thanks.
Saved it. I can just splice that one in where the other one was.
And so what you were seeing was the prologue where
Does it always go down by one?
It seems to.
Okay.
What was in the sky was a 34. She woke up, changed it to a 33. And then anyone who's 33 or older, so you and I are both toast.
I would have been dead.
Is dead. And so the main character, Robert Pattinson, also known as Gustav in the game, is going to go on an expedition to try to kill the Paintress. And there's a lot
Good
of
call.
There's expeditions that leave every year, but everyone fails. And so there's fewer and fewer people signing up for them
Is he
because
32 years old?
right? Exactly. Because everyone's going to get younger and younger and younger until the world ends.
Well, it's like it's 34. If you're 32, you know you're in next year's batch.
Right.
So
May as well head off.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't do something about it, who else will?
Nothing to lose.
Hey, Bernie, pick your battles.
What if
okay?
she went up and did like 70 one year and it's like everyone's like, what? But
Wait, hey, there's no one here, lady. That's a year off. It's a gap year.
Or she just writes like one. And then that's it.
She's like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit.
Here she does 31.
One.
She writes the one first and was like, oh shit. And she writes 3 in front. Got me.
But it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting premise. The world is absolutely gorgeous. The art's beautiful. The music is beautiful. I love everything about this game so far. I also love its turn-based combat, which is unusual to see these days. But I always have loved turn-based combat. I was really sad when Final Fantasy moved away from it into like real-time combat.
I didn't even know they had done that.
Oh yeah, let's not talk about that. I'm still sore about it.
I played Final Fantasy VII where you have like a spell where I think like a genie would come out. And it was this 15-second from memory animation that you had to watch 1,000 times and couldn't skip every time you did it.
Yeah.
And it was a great spell, but every time you did it, you knew you were going to be like,
sitting there watching it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they moved several games ago to more of a real-time format with 12, I think. And it's been that way ever since. And so this is turn-based. I like that. I like that sort of throwback style. I'm still very early in the game, but boy, am I enchanted.
well, Enchanted's a good place to be, Ashley.
Yeah, and the game's doing absolutely incredible. Review-wise, it's top critic average, according to OpenCritic, 97% of critics are giving it a recommendation. So this is another one that I think is going to show up in a lot of these lists next to Blueprints.
Well, I take back all the snarky things I said about it. All we know about it is how bad the name is.
But yes, the name is the weak point because first you have to remember it and then you have to figure out like what the hell does it mean. Expedition 33, now that makes sense because this is Expedition 33 on the, the paintress's 33rd number or whatever.
Oh, really?
She's just written 33.
So I won't
this
be
is the
lost if I
Expedition for
haven't played
33.
like 1 through 32. I can be fine. Okay.
Yeah, you can jump in with this installment. You don't need to play the prequels.
Well, that's refreshing. That's nice.
It's funny, they started at Expedition 70.
Because I wouldn't have a backlog. Yeah, one day they just put a random Expedition 1.
And everyone thought it was a big joke, and then she painted 69, and everyone goes, nice, and then disappeared in
Nice.
flowers.
You think the 69-year-olds were saying nice? But while we're talking about like things that we have heard about, like, these reviews have been really good for this game. Another thing we're going to go do today is we are going to go watch Sinners because everyone has been telling us we had to see Sinners.
I talked to John about that, and he had nothing but positive things to say about that movie. And one of the things that I've heard from a lot of people is they're saying I knew basically like the one sentence premise. I knew it's Michael B. Jordan's new vampire flick. And
What? I didn't know it was vampires. God damn it!
what?
I didn't know it was vampires.
Really?
I did not know. I thought it was gangsters.
Oh,
I literally knew nothing about this movie.
Gangsters then. And so
I went on a date to go see Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn. The person I went with had no idea it was a vampire movie,
Oh, whoops.
which it turns on a dime about halfway through the movie. And she was like,
What happened?
what the fuck is going on right now?
I was watching
Like there was
one
nothing to
movie,
indicate that was going to be the case.
A completely different movie. What
We're
happened?
watching Selma Hayek in a bikini and everything's great. Everything's great. You know what I heard about that, by the way?
What?
Like it's now like people are going back and watching Dusk Till Dawn and they realized that Quentin Tarantino wrote a part where Selma Hayek puts
her foot in the character's mouth and then cast himself as the character. Yeah, I heard about that too.
Hollywood. But so we're excited to see that, and we'll have probably something to say about it on Monday. So if you want to be as up to date as us, you can go see Sinners this weekend, and we can all talk about it
And
together
we'll go
on Monday.
on Monday. It'll be a good time.
Although we won't be talking about it Monday, we'll be talking about something else. I already have planned what we're doing on Monday.
Yes, but
So I wouldn't want to mislead anybody.
at some point, then we'll go talk about it. So
I'm not doing the Patreon thing as like a movie thing because I feel like if people in the Patreon, I hate that they have to go watch something else.
Right,
I don't like those.
We try to limit how frequently we do a sort of watch and talk.
Or
about,
if we
about
do,
things.
it's something that's a little broader, or maybe something that's a little more accessible in terms of like you don't have to pay money to go do it. Like you would have to go sit in a theater and pay money to go participate in that. So we'll do something else for Patreon this weekend.
Yes, and I have something in mind. So you guys will see.
That's a service over here. I tell you what, we're not doing on Patreon. Happy to help out.
Oh, we're managing expectations.
Can I do a couple more follow-ups
Yes,
while we're
you
talking
may.
about John and following up on the Sinners because everyone told us to go see it. Yesterday you were talking about with John. He mentioned Robin Williams having like a face-to-face with Coco the monkey and how
Gorilla, please.
Oh, sorry. It's Coco the monkey is an old internet thing. I think it's long gone. There was a one of the earliest internet viral things by 3Brain. Look up nipple apple crap.
I'm sorry, the what?
Nipple apple crap. I think it was Coco the talking monkey. Anyway, so Coco the gorilla. He said that he realized while he was watching Robin Williams there with Coco the gorilla that the gorilla could have torn him apart. I think he might have been conflating actually two different things that happened with Robin Williams because Robin Williams did do that and had an experience with Coco the monkey. But then Robin Williams had another thing too where he went to go swim with dolphins and the dolphins like straight up attacked him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the thing about dolphins, right? They look cute and they've got really good PR, but they're a little freaky.
Well, they're like people. Like I think they're a bit neurotic, right? And they're freaks. There's some of them. Some have kinks. There are. I think there's some dolphins that have kinks.
You got kinky dolphins out there.
They're out there. Well, they were. I think one of them tried to grab his wrist, and then they were like ramming him. This is from memory. He's like, from the image that I've got in my head, he's standing in like waist deep water in the beach. It's out in the wild, and all of a sudden he's like in trouble. Like the dolphins are ramming him, and they're very upset with him. And he even makes a comment of like, I must be the only person in the world who can piss off a dolphin somehow.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
I'm sure you're not the only one. And then the weirdest thing happened. This was from earlier in the week. I was talking about how Steve Jackson Games is in Austin. Lord Unknown on our subreddit said I was conflating two things from memory. And he said, or they said, excuse me, I think Lord is a he. I think that's safe. Oh, no, I think Bernie got his Steve Jackson's mixed up. Steve Jackson, British, made the fighting fantasy choose-your-own-adventure novels, and Steve Jackson, American, was the one who created Auto Duel / Car Wars. It's such a common mistake that it's even listed in their Wikipedia entries, the two Steve Jacksons. This is where it gets crazy. Jackson is often mistaken for Steve Jackson, a British game book and video game writer who co-founded Games Workshop. The confusion is exacerbated by the fact that while the UK Jackson was co-creator of the fighting game book series, the US Jackson also wrote 3 of the books, and the books did not acknowledge that it was a different person than the person who originally founded the series.
Okay, here's a question.
What is that?
Have they ever been seen in the same room, or does does British Steve Jackson leave the room and then like come back in, and then someone comes in with like a mustache looking very much like him, but then has a mustache and speaks with an American accent?
If you hire a Steve Jackson to help write your book series and you don't mention it's a different Steve Jackson, that has to be intentional, right?
I don't know.
It has to be.
I feel like it would take a lot of restraint and goodwill to be like, yes, person with my same name, go ahead and write the things. I'm sure.
I agree.
I'm sure no one will be confused, and I'm sure my legacy won't hinge on your work.
So I made a mistake there, but did I? It doesn't feel like my mistake.
The whole world made that mistake, I suspect.
That's so silly. Let's hire Steve Jackson to make a Steve Jackson book.
Well, Bernie, speaking of big mistakes, Fyre Festival 2, fully canceled. It's not happening.
So there's an effort on our subreddit. I don't think it's going anywhere. Much like Fyre Festival 1 and 2, where the people are talking about crowdfunding it to buy it.
Well, here's the thing. That's it. So it's been canceled, and the organizer, in quotes, Billy McFarland, is putting the brand up for sale.
What
So
are you selling?
Right. So you can buy the brand Fyre Festival. The thing is, who would want it?
I don't know. Who would want that?
Like who? What?
It has 0 success rate.
Right. What legitimate festival organizer would want to be tied to that thing besides someone else of the British Billy McFarland, perhaps?
Right, exactly. And then we won't even acknowledge the difference. It's like when they replace an actor like mid-series or something like that. You saw nothing.
It's me. I'm here. Get over it.
Exactly. The funny thing is, it's a terrible idea. No one should buy this. I kind of want it. Like, don't you kind of like, wouldn't you like to be the owner of Fyre Festival?
Right. It is a shame that it is canceled completely because that's where the next RTX was going to be.
Oh, exactly. Wherever they were going to do Fyre Festival 2, we were going to go there too. Because apparently you don't need permits or anything like that.
Right.
God.
You just turned up and started setting up FEMA tents.
Fyre Festival 2. I would not be surprised at all with this guy if he's actually selling you the name Fyre Festival 2 and not the original one.
Original one?
Like that'll read the fine print out there if you're bidding on this thing. That's all I have to say.
So British Bill McFarland, just be very careful.
Do they take Hawk Tuah coin for that? That's what I would like to know. What is the Hawk coin at now? I still think it's one of the hugest misses ever in naming that they didn't name that spit coin.
You're right. I mean, it should be. It should be. It makes perfect sense that that's what that would be.
I got my phone out. I'm going to look up the price of Hawk coin. I have no idea what the value of Hawk coin was at any point in time. So whatever it tells me, I have no idea if that's good or bad. I'm just gonna make the assumption it's not great.
Well, according to Coin Market Cap, the current value of Hawk Tuah coin is $0.0001120. Yes.
Wow. Well, I would say that's going that's going down a little.
I don't think that the Hawk Tuah coin is going to be able to buy Fyre Festival.
I should be careful though. I shouldn't laugh because somebody lost money on that.
A lot of
people lost money on that. And it is the thing. It's like the whole, like we talked about on one of the very last podcasts I did at Rooster Teeth, how if you just wait enough time, like even like really horrible stuff like the characters in Goodfellas or Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, how over time it's like, oh, these are characters that we make award-winning movies about. These are horrible people. They're horrible. They robbed people blind, or in the case of Goodfellas, they killed people. You know what I mean? It was like the worst thing in someone's life that they encountered this person. And then years later, we're making like Oscar-winning movies about it. It's kind of wild.
Well, the good news, Bernie, is if we want to focus on the good news, is that the value of Hawk Tuah coin is actually up for the month.
It's up for the month.
Its low for the month was 0.00007797. So I think there was an extra zero on the side of that. So
that's actually a huge change.
So it is up. Look, I'm going to turn
All
my
I heard was a
laptop
lot of
around
zeros
and
and a 7. Oh, it's up. It is
it's
actually
up.
showing me the
It
graph.
really is up. I mean, if you zoom out to the year, if we want to look at that, yeah, it's still down slightly from its peak at.
So just think if you'd have bought 25,000 Hawk Tuah coins for $1 at the beginning of this month, you would be up like $2.
It's price on the 22nd of June, 2024, 0.02306.
Who is buying and selling that now? It's fascinating. It's got to be computers, right?
Well, because the thing is that volume is still out there, right? Like those coins all still exist, so you can just buy them and sell them, and I don't know, give them to your friends.
In order to sell it, somebody's got to buy it though. Who's buying?
Buy Fyre Festival. Randos, maybe someone thinks that they're like, I don't remember that girl, she was hot, and they're like, they buy her coin.
That's the opposite part of this thing too, though, is that somebody out there is making a mint right now. Like somebody is making like in this like low stakes, way beyond like penny stocks level. Somebody's making money.
Right. It's all about scale, right? It's
I have no idea.
It's like Jordan Belfort, except like
Probably
just like a dude in his living room.
It's just probably just
Billy McFarland.
two guys trading money back and forth. Hey, while we're talking about two people, a funny thing to end the week on. Did you see the footage of the Australian twins?
I did.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch the full thing. I saw you watching it, and that's about the extent of what I saw. But it was two Australian twins who went viral doing a news interview because they were in sync. They were saying the same things in this news interview.
Here, I have a clip of it here that I can play for you. This is two Australian twins talking. They're being interviewed about an alleged crime. And you'll have to go watch it. It's much more impressive to watch the video of it. But just imagine two kind of middle-aged ladies wearing the exact same, what looks like little bunny rabbit scrubs from a hospital. And they're just recounting this alleged crime together.
Well, we were in cleaning our birds and we heard this big bang. We said, oh no, another car accident. So we drop everything and we went running out the front. We seen Mum running out from the house up there, and then the other cars were pulling up and checking to see if the person was okay. And one guy, he was up there with our mum, and he went up there and he was coming back down towards us, and he goes, run, he's got a gun.
Isn't that crazy?
So it's like, the thing is, I would assume that was a bit if this was just like an internet video, but it's a news clip. They were interviewing these twins about this carjacking, I think it was, and they were talking like that in sync. So unless that's something that they do as a bit all the time in their lives for, I don't know, some reason, that's crazy.
If it is, they keep a very straight face. You can watch that. The clip I just played is just them talking. It's not the filler bits around it.
We'll put it in the link
AP
dump.
News, yeah, did it. They got just them talking. And it's even crazier to see them doing it while they're saying it. It's just insane. I don't get it. I never had that close of a relationship with anybody, thank God.
I always wonder if you have a twin, everyone says that's the closest relationship you'll ever have in life, right? Is a twin. But I also feel like that could be one of the most contentious relationships you ever have too.
You know, I was thinking about this too, because we talk about the impact of genetics on stuff. And I was trying to think about this. Like, it's kind of shocking to me how few twins, and when I say how few, I can't really think of any, who are dramatically different looking, like lived incredibly different lives. Where one is, say, enormously heavy. That's a thing genetically that a lot of people deal with is, food consumption and weight and all that. It's rare where you see like one super skinny twin and then one super heavy twin because the other one just made bad choices,
I do.
it really is like one of the clearest expressions of how genetics impact our overall life, not just how we look or something like that, but really just throughout our entire life, how genetics plays a role in it.
I wonder, I'll see if I can look this up. But I remember a story about basically like long lost twin brothers that got adopted by different families. And they found each other because they had like the same line of work. Like they went into the same work and happened to find each other. I'll see if I can find that because that was so weird.
And somebody can post in the subreddit, I'm sure, of like different examples. But like even there was these Guinness Book of World Record twins when I was a young kid. I remember they were always on the like back cover of the Guinness Book of World Records. They were the heaviest twins, and they looked the same because they were just these two huge guys, and they were riding little mopeds. That's for some reason I remember that image. And it's funny. It's just like, or even something like, well, I've got a twin, but my twin is a heroin addict, but I'm not. You know what I mean? And yeah, twins also, aside from your example, twins tend to grow up in the same environment as well. But also we have a lot more experience with kids growing up in the same exact environment and then turning out dramatically different than their brothers and their sisters. But twins, it feels like to me, unless I'm missing some example that I've seen in the past, they tend to turn out quite the same.
We might also not hear as much about twins that don't turn out the same because you don't see them and go, oh, yes, clearly twins. Or there's a certain mythology, like a social mythology around twins and how the same they are and how close they are. And there's all these things that are built up that you just expect about twins. So you might not see when they don't meet those expectations.
Like one of the only examples I can think of that comes up is Ashton Kutcher has a twin brother who has cerebral palsy, but he's a fraternal twin brother, not an identical twin. I'm talking about identical twins. Okay. Anyway, just something I noticed.
So I'm looking up mine here. There's a lot of stories similar to this, so this may be just one of many, but this is actually about identical triplets. So in 1980, this guy turns up to community college for his first day, and everyone seems to recognize him. He found out it's because he looked exactly like someone who had gone to the school the year before. And found out they were identical twins that had been separately adopted at birth. And so they put this story in the newspaper. Someone reads the newspaper and goes, those guys look exactly like me. Found out he was a triplet. and then like even many years after that, they found out that they weren't accidentally or just, conveniently adopted out because it's easier to, I guess, adopt a single kid than get 3 triplets adopted.
Yeah, you don't want the economy pack. Sometimes you just want a single serving.
Single stick of butter. And
how dare you have a rough week this week?
But no, it was a deliberate psychological experiment on nature versus nurture. So basically, like 3 psychologists wanted to study them and deliberately had them adopted into 3 socioeconomically different families.
What the fuck?
I know!
God damn, what is wrong with the world?
That seems like a movie to me.
I just pulled this up here too. Crazy thing is, all 3 twins named Steve Jackson. Who would have thought? All right, well, who are our Steve Jacksons for today, Ashley?
All right, today's Steve Jacksons, a Jace 8500 and a Megatom Babam. Thank you both so much for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morning somewhere, taking us into the weekend.
Well, we are morning somewhere, Babam, and we are here to sell out and stuff. All right, well, that does it for us this week, ending April 25th, 2025. We will be back to talk to you on Monday. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.